Hookup on KFOR.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's wake up, wake up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Catch your chance to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's wake up, wake up.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Happy Victory Tuesday. Also, happy first of the month. Welcome into the morning hookup. Bill Hooks. Elijah back on the ones and twos. After hopefully a good hibernation day for you. Catching up on some sleep, some other stuff, whatever you had to do. Dishes, see.
Little spring cleaning. Well,
hibernation
not
days.
spring cleaning, but yeah.
It doesn't feel like spring this week. They kind of gave you like a glimpse of it for a moment. Nice day yesterday, though. Nice day.
Nice day. Not a spring day.
Nope, not a spring day. Maybe
nice
like
day.
a late fall type day, transition into the wintertime day.
Today's like a real early spring type day with highs in the 40s and the potential for thunderstorms to roll through here tonight.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be – what up, Greg? Good morning. Good morning, 840. You said he quit his job. He can come in every day now.
Is that true?
It's not. It can't be because I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of my least favorite days.
Yeah, I did see Tiger this morning.
Tiger got a good one. He got a lot of people this morning because you wouldn't put it past him for that to happen. It's one of my least favorite. Oh, yeah, look at that. Be ready. You got the Herb. Love it.
I have no pranks planned for this April Fool's Day.
Okay, good, because I am on full watch. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like an old man stuff. You know? My kids try all the time.
You've been around the block.
I have been around there. And sometimes I just let myself get got, so it just goes away. You know? Dude says the least favorite for him, too. He's still employed. He's still employed. Lots to get to today. I don't know about Robin Washington. Maybe, question mark. He's out in Vegas.
What happens in Vegas?
I don't know how his night ended up. I know he was there throughout the games. We're talking about the game coming up. I know he was out there getting his stories in late. I know there's a lot of people out there he's going to hook up with and hang out with. So we'll see.
Do they let you have a laptop at the blackjack table? Finish up your
yeah,
stories?
that'd be interesting. Or if you just like propped it up on a slot machine.
In between sentences?
In between doing it. So we'll see. I'm not going to bother him. It's 2 hours behind. So they're at 7 o'clock in the morning. I might just shoot him a text. Hey, just checking in on you. Did you make it home? You ever done this? Give you a tip. This is a made the mistake before tip. When I'm out, let's say when I go on a trip, I do golf trips with buddies. Or I've been to Vegas with buddies. The first thing I do is when we check in the hotel, wherever we're at, I take a picture of the room number for my phone. Just a tip. Okay, because you never know. I've been in the situation when I was younger that I couldn't find the room. Weird to have to ask somebody when you can't talk and trying to find your room. So take a picture of the room. That's the pro tip of the day. If you're going to be out and about on a golf trip with buddies somewhere you're not familiar with, or you're in a hotel.
Any bender is planned?
Yes, and you just know what's going to happen. Okay, take a picture. But we'll have Brian Munson, HuskerLane.com, will join us. We'll have a bunch of stories that we missed. We're going to have Elijah catch up on some stuff because it's been a beautiful Husker couple of days. A beautiful Husker couple of days. Your baseball team? How about that?
The Husker baseball team?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the Rockies for a second.
No, not them. We ain't worried about them.
We're not talking about them.
We'll get to some baseball because there's some interesting stories that are rolling right now. And get thoughts on how you're feeling about your favorite team and their starts or not so great starts, if that means something going forward.
Well, what's interesting about the Rockies here, I know we're going to get back into this. An ERA from their starting pitching staff is the lowest in the MLB. It's a .87.
And
the Rockies are 1-3.
Perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. But Husker baseball, how about it? We talked about it yesterday. All of us, I think majority of the state kind of rolled in going, uh-oh.
Now you got a 2:30 game. You got to keep the momentum rolling. Yeah. I know you guys spent a fair bit of time on this yesterday, along with all the Elite Eight action. But you got to keep the momentum rolling.
Yep.
That's a big momentum weekend. Now you have Creighton at home today in a game that's going to be at 2:30. So hate to say it, but with this weather and with the game timing, Haymarket Park's probably going to be pretty dead in there.
It is.
It's a bring your own juice type game.
Yep.
Can you keep that momentum rolling from the weekend into this Creighton team who has had your number going on 8 years now? Feels like.
Yeah, feels like forever.
Since pretty much I started out in college.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long Creighton's had your number for. Can you flip the script, get a home win against Creighton in a day that, let's be honest, it's not necessarily baseball weather today.
It's not.
And the crowd probably is going to be sparse.
Yeah.
Can you keep the momentum rolling? It's the next question. And that's what Husker baseball, that's what it is now.
Oh, yes.
You have to keep things rolling. You have to keep things going because your margin for error is now 0.
Yeah. And it was one of those weekends for me, as we were talking about it yesterday, did we get some questions answered? Or go back. Did the team learn about themselves? Because I think they might have. Number one was what we needed. The Friday night, Will Walsh getting you an absolute quality start, getting those runs early, putting the pressure on a team. Drew Christo out of the bullpen, 3, boom. Yeah, Saturday, you're like, all right, Oregon State's going to do what they do. And then Sunday, I hope, I envision as being on teams before like those, that you learned that you can fight. You were down a couple of times in that game. And that 4th inning, when you took the lead, then they took it right back. Typical Husker teams just lay down at that point. This team fought. And again, they had that crazy inning where they scored 9 runs on 2 outs. And I hope that's the part where it's like, did you learn the toughness about yourself?
Well, what I saw, which gives me some encouragement moving forward, and it bums me out that they needed to wait this long in the season to figure it out, but the approach with 2 strikes and with 2 outs all weekend long was better. You didn't get the results on Saturday. That's baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Friday night into Saturday afternoon, especially Sunday, their approach when the count was 0-2 or 1-2 was so much better than it's been for long stretches of the season. That was the main thing that I noticed from this weekend that was different. Could it just be a one weekend little blip on the radar? Maybe. But if you can keep it rolling, like something felt like with that lineup that I'm not sure if it was coaching. I'm not sure if it was just the guys getting together and saying, you know what, guys, the season sucked. We need to change something. I don't know what it is, but something with the approach at the plate felt different this weekend.
Completely. And then some of those local kids found their groove. They found it at the right time. So I think this is another one of those games that you got to go get. I have not seen the pitching matchup yet, but I assume it's Carson. Is it Jasa? Jace? I assume he will continue that midweek approach that they've been rocking with in that one. And then you look ahead. Then you got some Big Ten matchups you got to get focused on. Evan put it out yesterday. That series win, shows you how impactful it was because it keeps you just tasting that maybe an at-large bid is still back on the table. They jumped almost 50 in the RPI.
Should be noted, by the way, it's TJ Coates going this
Okay,
afternoon.
TJ Coates.
TJ Coates going. Yasa's got tomorrow.
He's got tomorrow. Okay.
Against Omaha.
Okay. God, did he face them before? I can't remember. Who cares? But this is a critical couple of games from the RPI game. You're going to get, because Creighton's record is in pretty good shape. They haven't played a whole bunch, but they, good teams. But you'll get a bump from that. The game tomorrow doesn't really help you, but you know what it can do? Hurt you. If you don't beat that Omaha team, you're in that mix.
That's midweek games for you.
That is. It's like, man, I love the fact this one's at home, though. Be at home. Go get a win. Get the bat still rolling. Keep that line. The team, it's so typical of Nebraska sports going, we're back. They got you clinging onto the we're back situation.
Speaking of back, Husker basketball?
Question mark? This is boy. I didn't catch, so in all transparency, I followed the score. I got the last part of it because we had baseball practice last night. We were at the Gordon facility on out there. Whew. I had a lot of text after that first half in total disbelief. You thought in that first half, the way they played, down 8 against like you're playing 7 guys on the other side. Missing 3 of their top guys, right?
And it became 6 due to foul trouble, which It was just a weird game a little bit. Should we step aside and get back in Husker?
Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's take a break because there's so many. I think there's so many thoughts behind this because I think there was a transition that happened at halftime. Now we've seen it before from Nebraska. Okay, but let's do that. Let's step aside. Let's take a break. We'll flip it up and then we'll talk about the crown when Elias and I return. Yeah, I think you put it best. The weird game? Question mark. Greg, great comment. Greg says, bring your own juice? Question mark. I thought they started selling beer at Haymarket Park. On the telephone, on my line, dial my baby's number. This will be good. Hope that weather does hold off. Could be some severe. They're talking about possible severe stuff. Stay away. Down my baby's number. It's such a great comment. That's every Carolina fan in the world out there. They've never been on that. Like when Rory Williams retired, it wasn't a joke. On April Fool's Day, it wasn't a joke.
Let me get a phone call real quick.
Okay. Somebody wants to chat it up with us?
I don't know who we have on the line here. Who's with us?
Well, I want to call on a commercial. And hey, guys, I am happy dad today, and I know I shouldn't have led with what I led with earlier because you guys are probably suspect. This is absolutely no April Fool's joke, but I am happy as Lark Xavier getting his first varsity start today.
Oh, let's go! Let's go! What time they play? What time they play?
They're at 4:30 down at Sherman. The bad news is they have to play Norris.
That's all right, dude. You know what? Have them embrace that.
I mean, defending state champs. That's a good team. And maybe the coach is just running some of the younger kids out there for what the heck. But
that's so cool. Have him embrace that, man.
Where's he playing today?
At Sherman.
I mean, like what position? Sorry.
Oh, left field.
Mm-hmm.
Start down left, and I think batting seventh. And I've had the three daughters that played the sports. Obviously, Mallory did the softball. Yep. Bill, when you get there in a few years and your boys make that first varsity start, all those trips and thousands of millions of dollars you spend on select ball, it all comes to fruition, and you just have that butterfly feeling in your stomach. It's a good day. So
that's awesome.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I know that.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. A happy Victory Tuesday. Happy first of the month. Say first of the month here, like, hope gotta pay bills, gotta pay rent. Few, man, dude, that's awesome. Few called in and said X-Man's getting his first varsity start today. Wish him well. That's awesome. I kind of got goosebumps thinking about it. Oh no, we're failing. Soon we're off dead air. Streamers, hang out with us. Hang out with us. We got a little beeping going on. We'll figure it out. Sorry, guys. Nebraska ball coming up. We're back. All right, we're back. I'm back. There's not beeping anymore. I hear they come. Here they come. They might come in the door. So, all right, we're back. We're going to talk some Husker hoops. But we want to wish X-Man congrats on his first varsity start today. He'll be out there and trolling left field today at 4:30. So we'll wish him well. That's pretty good stuff. It gets me kind of dustied up because I think about my own kids and their progression through this world of sports and the moments where I think it's always worth it, by the way. It's always worth it, by the way. But getting his first varsity start. Question was that we were talking about, was it worth Nebraska going to Vegas? We've talked about that with the portal that opened up on the 24th, which there could be some portal news. There's one that jumped in that we're really excited about, maybe.
Couple of names to fall from you if you're checking along with the rumor mill.
Yep. We'll talk about those coming up. But Nebraska, hey, they go out there and the first half, let's just say it looked like a team we always question these secondary tournaments when you're not in the big dance is what's the motivation. We looked like an uninspired team. We looked very clunky. Obviously, some of that due to rotation stuff, right? Your starting lineup was very unique yesterday. Throwing the 3-guard lineup with Ulis getting in that lineup. Didn't start out well. You go into the half down, 8 at half, not feeling very good. Whatever was said at halftime, Nebraska got back to their identity. Tough defense, hitting buckets. Connor Season was the Husker savior yesterday in the second half. He found his way. That had to be a kid that was chomping at the bit, by the way, after his last performance when it was 0 for forever in the Iowa game. Satisfying to get that, see the ball go back through the bucket for him. Bryce continued to do Bryce stuff. You get extended career minutes night from Cale Jacobson, who not only did he play on the offense side, but I tell you what, locked down their guy. Well, their leading scorer had 15 at the half. Did he get one bucket in the second, maybe? One bucket?
Cale Jacobson, in his 22 minutes of game time, which was a season high for him, only 2 points, but was plus 10.
Plus 10.
Which says it all.
Defensively,
that says what he brought to the court. That was made possible. Sean Phillips, the 7-footer from Arizona State, if you weren't watching last night, found himself in foul trouble through much of the game. Whenever he went to the bench, I think it says a lot that, the Big Ten teams don't go small. You just don't do that. But once Arizona State was forced to go small last night because Phillips had to go sit on the bench, I thought it was very interesting that Fred countered and immediately went small himself.
Yes.
Which I think speaks a little bit to what Fred thinks he has in his front court.
Mm-hmm.
That he went, we can go small. Cale, get off the bench. You're playing 22 minutes.
Yeah, and watch this. I can match that.
Yeah, and Nebraska did not sub the last 12 minutes of that basketball game, which, again, I think says a little bit as well.
Well, it tells you.
The last sub was Berke coming to the bench with 11:35 left in the second half. Cale Jacobson comes back in. Nebraska is down by 5 at that point, and that's when Nebraska goes on the run.
Defensively, they just were suffocating. They got to every loose ball in that mix. They hit shots. And like you said, it tells you a lot. Berke obviously dealt with foul trouble for a while. He only played 18 minutes. Ulis played 8. Braxton Mead only played 5.
And look at the guys that you had, that your closers from last night. Sam Hoiberg, he played 34 minutes, 7 points, but a plus minus of 9.
He's a stat for last night, 7, 7, and 4.
Yeah. Bryce Williams obviously drops 30 points, played all but 1 minute of that game, 39 minutes for Bryce. He was plus 10. Jawan, 33 minutes, plus 18. And then Cale Jacobson in his 22 minutes, plus 10. The last guy, Connor Seagen, 23 minutes. He was plus 8. Those 5 guys were the only guys for Nebraska last night that were positive in the plus-minus category. They were your 5 that were playing on the floor last night, which makes sense with the run Nebraska went on late. Like, makes sense. Those guys can be positive in the plus-minus category, but I think it says a lot that was the 5 that Fred was rolling with last night. Down the stretch of that game when it's win-in time, I think you can read that how you want that. Hey, Cale Jacobson's the guy he trusted in that moment.
Yeah, to do the right things, be in the right spot, hustle, play hard. Comment coming in. I didn't get a chance to see it all with baseball last night. Greg said, I thought in the second half the calls went Nebraska's way. Yeah, a lot. A lot of push-offs, he said.
You had a couple times getting down into the
Which,
paint.
by the way, that statement is hardly ever made. Think about that. The calls went Nebraska's way. I had a really good time watching, also before I didn't mean to interrupt, but I had a really good time from my perspective watching Hurley lose his mind.
And to be fair, you had some calls, I think late in the first half, especially that did not go Nebraska's way or on the perimeter. They were very touchy, the refs on the perimeter. But once you got inside, they were allowing full blown assault.
Full blown assault.
If you got into the paint, and I think Nebraska settled into this better because they play in the Big Ten. And that is the standard in the Big Ten. It can be a little touchy on the perimeter, but once you get inside, assault's okay. And you had Nebraska a couple times down low. Understand, hey, they're letting us play physically down low. We're going to play physically defensively, and offensively, we're going to lower a shoulder into some dude's chest underneath the rim, generate some space, and lay it home. I think Nebraska's still into that better. I think if I can give one hat tip to the refs, because I know Husker fans don't like giving the hat tip to the refs this season with basketball, I think that crew called it pretty consistently. I may have not liked all the calls that they made, but I think pretty consistently.
They stayed within the perimeter. They played in the sandbox really well.
Yes. What they established, especially in the second half, they stuck with through the second half. It didn't change based on game situation. It didn't change based on which ref was down low, which one was on the perimeter. Like, the crew called it consistently. Hey, Nebraska settled in and realized, hey, we can lower a shoulder into a guy. We can give him a forearm shiver down low, and they're going to let it go. Nebraska settled into that.
It was a good win. You didn't go out there for nothing now, because you felt like this was going to be one of those nights where it's like, yeah.
Well, you're one win from being in the money now.
Yeah. What? They'll take on not today. They have an off day today.
Mm-hmm.
They have a recovery day. They'll play Wednesday? ? I believe. I think it's a 1 day off in the after the first round. Then I think if they win again, they get a couple days off.
Yeah, they have Georgetown next.
Georgetown. Did you see that? Did you see the news that got announced right before that? Georgetown was down a bunch of players in this game due to some illness. That line, I had a buddy that hit me up, and the line flipped, and I did not. I was so out of it. He was all about it. The line flipped from like Georgetown favorite all of a sudden to, it was like Georgetown -2.5, and it flipped all the way to +2.5 with the mystery illness that was going on with Georgetown. But they go out and win.
Yeah. Malik Mack
37
drops 37 out of Georgetown's 85 points, and they get a win.
So Nebraska. I don't know what time. They have a time on that yet when they play Wednesday?
Probably.
I was trying to figure it out, but it's not like this thing jumps like right away.
Check the bracket here.
They don't have like
it is going to be 7:30 on Wednesday.
Perfect.
Oh wait.
Yeah, it's Wednesday because they get the day off today.
No, Pacific time. 8:30.
8:30.
8:30.
People got to go to bed.
Says the old guy in the room.
Yeah.
To be fair, last night after the Nebraska game, I was like, "Oh, I need to do laundry."
You did. It was hibernation day.
Yeah. No. So I was doing laundry last night, waiting for it to finish up so I could flip it over to. You could do like the half dry, and then you'll finish up the dry in the morning. Make sure everything's nice and.
Explain.
Well, because if it just sits in the dryer all night, it's going to get wrinkled. You don't want it to. So you half dry it, and then you wake up, you finish the dry, you try to get a few things folded before you come into work.
First of all, I'm impressed that you even care about wrinkles.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's important.
Because I know people your age, you're like,
I'm not gonna look like
I live out of the dryer.
I'm not going to look like a fool. Anyway, long story short, I got to watch it in that video that the Masters posted about while my laundry is going. Scotty Scheffler walking through every single hole. Fell asleep during that. And my clothes never got moved over to the dryer last night, so I woke up this morning and went, no. So I'm wearing the bottom of my closet today.
It's all right. It's all right. It has a purpose.
I'll by the time the afternoon rolls around, my clothes will be drying.
Did you just leave them in there? Did you you moved them over?
Yeah, they're probably drying right now.
Okay, good. We're that family too. It's hard to remember that stuff.
It's tough whenever you throw in your clothes at like 9:45. That was my mistake.
Teach my kids to go back and problem solve and go, where did I mess up at? Where did the root?
The root of my issue.
It was 9:45, number one, and two, trying to watch a golf video.
Well, I was trying to pass some time so I could move everything over to the dryer. Unfortunately,
I swear I thought you were going to tell me that you're watching Coach Rule's TikTok.
Oh no, I got that knocked out yesterday afternoon.
That little.
The dance with Harper Murray.
I think he's got moves.
He was a menace back in New York back in the day.
I think he's got moves. That evolution of him jumping into that world is a forced issue. That thing's truly amazing. If you haven't seen it, I think Harper Murray put it on hers, and Coach Rule reposted it and said, "I was tired of it. I can't get the quote right, but I was tired of watching it being done wrong."
Well, and he also understands the how I see this is he understands the element of there's no such thing as bad publicity if you handle it correctly.
Yep.
And he was making the rounds on social media for what he said, both on the Pat McAfee show and I think on the Urban Meyer podcast as well, about the TikTok workouts he's having his players do. You know, like, oh, you're gonna be doing TikToks in the team facility. Guess what? We got a workout special one for you if you're gonna be breaking team rules like that.
Yeah.
I think he understood that made the rounds, and there was some people out there like, oh man, Matt Rule's not with the times. He doesn't get what the kids want now.
Old man Rule.
Oh, all the kids are on TikTok. If you're gonna be a hard ass about that, they're gonna leave you. No, he understood. He understands. It's about time and place. He's not anti-TikTok. He's anti-TikTok taken away from football. So he comes on, does a TikTok yesterday and says, it's him showing I'm not anti-TikTok. I'm not the old man yelling at the clouds here. I'll do a TikTok if you want me to. It comes down to getting your responsibilities done first, getting the football done first.
Time and a place. But I think it was so appropriate that his very first one was with Harper Murray. As we all know, her documented times with Coach Cook and his TikTok account. And the number of likes that every time John got on the stream were amazing. You know, it's calculated. Well, I agree with the time and place, but I'm never getting on one. Out. So, all right. Oh, you're looking up something. Are you looking up the likes it got already?
Yeah, on TikTok alone, it's got 80,000 likes.
I mean, boop, boop.
And Harper Murray has also already said on a new TikTok, a picture of her and Rule says, "Let me know if you guys want more TikToks."
Done. I mean, it's now it's viral. It's going to take off. Calculated move by our volleyball team and head coach. Well done. So, all right, let's take a break. Let's come back and let's look at the Final Four real quick. We have not got your look at it yet. All 4 number ones are there.
Yeah.
Who's most vulnerable? Who's going to win this thing? And the storylines within it when we return. Oh man, I can't wait to I can't wait till in the second hour to get your opinion on this tush push conversation.
I think it's actually more nuanced than some people think.
Yeah. And by the way, it's also we will talk about. There's been some approved rule changes for the NFL coming up for next year, but it sounds like they chickened out and they're going to table it for a vote for a future meeting. Table it. We're going to table it. Nobody wants to talk.
Here we go.
All that tells me is when they table stuff, you know what that means? They don't got the votes. I got more lobbying to do. Oh, we should go. We asked that too. Forgot that part. Just a yuck kind of day out there, isn't it? Just a yuck kind of day.
Tell you what, though, with some of this weather we've had recently, some precipitation. I know it's been a little on the chilly side, but it hasn't been below freezing. Those golf courses around town are looking
stunning. The green grass. When you're driving around now, that's a great point. Has it knocked down the allergies for you?
A little bit. I'm still taking my Zyrtec every morning, but
sounds like maybe we kind of knocked off the moved slightly out of the severe category.
Yeah, I know they were expecting some really significant hail. It sounds like not so bad as
and it sounds like the chances have moved back 30 or so % chance for rain at 7, possible thunderstorms 40% around 8. We have a potential 7 o'clock opening day baseball game tonight.
Good luck with that.
I know, 7 o'clock. Won't be cold at all.
Dude, Saturday I was out umpiring, which if you were around here, you know Saturday was kind of garbage.
Yep.
Just generally misty all afternoon, windy and cold. Not fun baseball weather.
No.
It's not, every single time the ball touches the ground, you got to toss it back and get a dry baseball because no one can get any grip.
Those are the worst.
Kids are like starting to say, like, man, my bat's starting to get a little slippery here. I'm like, well, if it flies out of your hand, I'm calling the game. But up until that point,
yeah, the danger part, you're out. We're done.
Yeah. And it never reached danger point, but it was throughout the entire afternoon in the sucky point.
Yeah. It would be interesting if they do get a little rain tonight. We're out at Sandhills on the turf. What that does to the
You play it, but come back here.
Take time with a wounded hand, 'cause it likes to heal.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. I hope you're having a great Tuesday out there. We got to go back real quick to Husker basketball because we mentioned they've advanced or moving on, but there was an interesting player that went in the portal yesterday. They got a lot of momentum. Even Robin Washington put it out there. It says, "Who says you can't go home again?" ? Jamarcus Lawrence. And apparently there's a little bit of interest back and forth. We mentioned that individual going, hey, this could be a guy that could potentially be something really good in that offense. A point guard that can score. And again, I know he only averaged 9 or 10 at Rhode Island. Right situation, right feel, could be something special.
Well, yeah, because he at Nebraska played a bit more of that too.
Yeah, he was
him and Wilcher kind of were the rotational. Neither of them
tried to transition him into the point guard. It just was very clunky.
It was more of a by necessity. I think you put him at point.
Mm-hmm.
Goes off to Rhode Island where he's going to be a 2. Didn't quite stick and stay. Had a good. I think he shot almost 40% from 3, but wasn't as utilized in the offense as he was in Nebraska. I heard over the weekend before he even entered the portal, there was mutual interest in having a reunion. Now, he enters the open market. You don't know what kind of offers he's going to command, but definitely strikes me. We talk about the fact that Nebraska basketball, with their NIL resources, I think probably can get 2 impact guys in the portal and 3 guys that you got to get deals on. The 2 names that are floating around yesterday as maybe being close, Jamarcus Lawrence, Price Sanford.
That Sanford has momentum, I believe.
Yeah, and Sanford, I think, is an impact guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jamarcus Lawrence, based on what his last season was at Rhode Island, could be a deal type guy, where you're getting a good deal, you're paying under market value for what type of player you're going to get. You have 5 open spots, so 2 impact guys, 3 deals. I think is kind of what you're looking for this offseason. If it's Sanford and Jamarcus Lawrence, I think that's 1 impact guy, 1
deal guy. That's a kind of be a glue type player there. I'd be interested to see what that market's like for Jamarcus if there's more out there because I look at it,
and that's the big unknown.
And I look at I don't know what the comparison's like. I haven't really had a chance to look, but a kid like Elliot Cadeau that left Carolina, see where he landed.
Well,
Michigan.
Michigan. And it kind of gets to what are coaches looking for in the portal? Are they looking for the mid-major guy that is looking to take a step up and in a different offense, the different players around him can be a little bit more valuable? You think of Fiddler at Michigan State. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did not have the same role at Michigan State that he was going to have he had at Omaha. That was always going to be the case. But he came in and filled a role admirably. Did well for that Michigan State team. Rotational piece.
I would expect if the Lawrence thing is real and the interest, I expect that to go quick.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, but to flip it around here, the other side of things is the misfit toys type where, hey, you didn't work out at North Carolina, you didn't work out at Michigan, you didn't work out at Purdue or wherever, but we think in our offense, style, in our system, you're gonna work as style as everything.
Yeah, the styles and fits are all about this, and that's where that's when you have to go back and look. And I know I'm comparing a Lawrence or to an Elliot Cadeau, and my history with Cadeau and that thing like that, but maybe it's a complete great fit at Michigan from a style and what you're being asked to do in that situation. You know what I have a concern with too? I'm just being carte blanche, is a guy like Connor Essegian. That is, it's almost like you want him to play well, but not too well. Because he could be a guy that get poached a little bit. Don't you think? Doesn't that worry you just a little bit from a shooter's mentality, from a shooter? And he'd be a guy that plays well out there like he just did in the second half, that absolutely has the ability to light it up at any given moment. That he's a player that somebody might come after they've missed on something else.
I don't necessarily worry about Connor leaving. I just what you're hearing through the grapevine
that he's happy, he's comfortable, he's good to go. He'll be a
think
but I just
like
he's
life
that
in
type
Lincoln,
of player in these secondary tournaments.
where somebody out there misses on their top guy and says, "Hey,
Because come on,
hey,
you
hey,
can't
how
believe
much?
that.
How much is Nebraska
like-
paying you? We'll offer more."
I mean, we have to believe that there's people sitting in the stands on the scouting side from other schools, right? We're not blind to that.
Well, and I think the bigger thing, maybe even more so than money with Connor, is what's the role going to be for him in
Mhm.
2025?
Yep.
If you bring in Lawrence,
How do I get to here? I'm here.
Well,
What's the next?
if you bring in Jamarcus Lawrence, which between those two guys, I think both those guys are going to play the 2 for you, and they're different, completely different players. Which guy starts? Which guy comes off the bench for you?
And some of that's comfortability too. What do you like coming off of? You know, Joe P, what's up, brother? He said Duke is looking unbeatable. Still got Florida. The 4 number 1 seeds there, Elijah.
Okay.
I
know- I know-
mean, like in a bracket, we didn't want to predict it because we don't usually see it. But these are the 4 teams that have, me personally, and I think a lot of people thought this was the 4 that were a notch above everybody else.
And we discussed this weeks ago.
Yep.
Before the bracket was even
They're
announced.
championship contenders. They are there.
That the top 4 or 5 teams in America were a solid leap over everybody else in terms of talent, in terms of how they play.
And
Like,
it played its way out just exactly that way.
we said Sweet 16, Elite 8 time. We thought these teams were going to start flexing their muscle.
Mm-hmm.
They have done so. And for what it's worth, I just saw this stat yesterday. The 10 best KenPom teams ever, which dates back to 1996, 1997, of the top 10 KenPom rated teams, 4 of the top 10 are in this year's Final Four. Duke, according to KenPom, is the second best rated team. Houston, number 6 all time. Florida, number 8 all time. Auburn, number 10 all time.
That's insane.
That's the type of Final Four we're having. And hey, people have talked. I'm with them. The NCAA tournament as a whole this year, because of the lack of upsets, because of the lack of any real like buzzer beater, one shining moment type, like you're going to see that highlight for forever. There hasn't been any of that this tournament. The Final Four, grab your popcorn.
Yeah.
Let's
go. Like
first 2 weekends, just all right. Like they've been fine. The Final Four will be must-see television.
I mean, let's be real. From a true college basketball fan sense, this is what I'm here for. Now, I'd rather be a different color blue in there. Let's be all honest, or a different color red at some point. But we're all here for this. We're all here for this. I know. Again, like I said, everybody wants the Cinderella story, but look, that doesn't translate for me as a fan to watch. Like these matchups. I mean, what else can you ask for? Look at that first matchup, Florida Auburn. They know each other. That's a coaching situation there, scheming around each other, right? At what pace you're going to go at? How physical is that game going to be? I am really interested more than anything in the night matchup. What gives in that one? Houston's physicality, their scoring, their guards are so good. Duke playing at an all-time level right now, scoring points, beating people up, right? That is a heavyweight match right there. Who blinks first in that one? And what style of game do they want to play? Does Houston has been able to like
Houston
win
held
so
Tennessee to 50.
50. I mean, Duke's the favorite right now, by the way, in the whole thing to win it.
I think personally, and I'm a little biased here because of wanting my bracket to succeed.
You want to move up the poll, I know.
Houston, we've talked about them. They're quietly, I think, having an incredible tournament here. No one's really talking about them because their style isn't sexy.
Yes,
their style isn't sexy. They play great defense. They do enough to win offensively. They have athletes all over the floor, but none of those guys stand out as being like, oh, that's a top 10 pick. Oh, that guy's going to stick and stay for a long time in the NBA. Nothing about what they do is sexy, but man, is it effective.
I tell you what,
Duke's got some sexiness to him. Don't get me wrong.
A little swag.
That's why I'm with you. That matchup between Duke and Houston, both games are going to be fantastic. But that game stylistically is super, super interesting. It's high flying, like the sexiness of Duke with Cooper Flagg and all the talent they have.
Knipple, all those guys
against Houston, team culture, defensively locked in. They got athletes that are willing to just get down and dirty on the defensive end.
Do you feel like it's that game? I know this is cliche, but it says this about it. Like that's the national championship game. I feel like when that gets together, like that's the game you're like, you're going to go, this is what I'm here for.
Yes,
this is what I'm here for.
Yes and no.
Because I look at the matchup that could potentially be.
I don't want to discount Florida and Auburn on either side. Both great basketball teams. I do think whoever gets out of the Duke Houston game is going to be your national champion.
The favorite for sure.
I'm not going to discount the Florida. And I mean, they're all 1 seeds for a reason. They all have what it takes to be national champions. They all do. But yeah, I think the battle tested team that comes out of Duke and Houston is the team that I think is going to be your favorite to win the national champion. I think it's going to be Houston. I got my bracket says Houston over Florida. Based on what I've seen in the tournament, I think it's going to be Houston over Auburn in the championship game, but we'll see.
They've got one going back to their history this year. Florida won at Auburn, by the way, back in February, 90-81. Let me go back. Did they play again? That's their only meeting, by the way. One meeting between those two teams. So that'd be an interesting battle. I said this yesterday. I hope with this Final Four, and I'm not putting this all in the refs, give me an officiated game where both these teams can battle and be physical without being over the top. I go back to the Duke-Alabama game. That was like 56 fouls. Because these four teams are going to be physical. Let them play basketball, right? That's my hope for this Final Four, that there's, and again, I'm not going to call it, be impression. It's all in the officials, but give us a game that it's that way. Yeah, calls are calls. Both ends are the same. You're like you said for the Husker game last night. Did we like all the? No, but guess what? It was. It felt like it was consistent.
Yeah, and I think you need to let these teams determine early in the basketball game how they want the game to be played.
Yep.
There are times. I mean, Houston's a team that they're gonna be okay if they're getting physically. What's the right word here? Not beat up, but they are willing to let Duke play physical with them when they're on the offensive end if they get to play physically defensively. Let the teams determine how they want these games to be played and then officiate it that way.
I think you're dead on. Houston is an interesting team to me and I think they're like Auburn. I think Houston and Auburn are about the same. They want you to be physical with them because they are more physical than they think that you are. Yeah. I think that's what you're saying. They're like, all right, let's get in the blocks and bump. That's not a team that's going to shy away from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the deal. Ah, man, I can't wait for it. So, all right, you know what? Let's take another break. When we come back, let's look at a few baseball stories. Just kind of get where some teams are. I have a team of mine that I love near and dearly. I'm a little worried about. And then get your opinion on the torpedo bat.
And we also had some argument about a balk last night.
We did. There was it. And I'm telling you, I watched that like multiple times. We'll talk about that when we return.
The umpire will dive into it.
Perfect. We'll talk about that when we return. Do you ever go? I don't want to. I didn't do it on the radio because I want to be as cordial as possible. There's people in the media world that are just Husker haters, no matter what. You just want to be like, "Come on, man." There was a tweet that came out last night. I'll leave it where it is. You probably saw it. And the tweet was, "When does Nebraska face Duke? ? One more win or two?"
3. Give me the winner of the crown against the winner of the
NCAA I'm like
postseason.
In the comments below, I don't know. I saw it and I'm like, leave it alone. It's fine. Yeah. Celebrate a win. This torpedo bat thing, I can't wait to get your opinion. This is so crazy.
I like it. Personally,
yeah,
we'll get into it.
How about the smart guy that figured it out?
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's always going to be innovation in baseball.
I got to get this. I'm going to ask you this too. All right. Oh. The torpedo bat. You know what I love a lot about the torpedo bat? I'll say it in a minute.
Quick first hour here.
Good stuff.
We got just so you know, 6:30 on the clock.
Perfect.
6:30 on the clock here to talk some baseball.
6:30. Thought you were gonna say 6-7.
No. No.
It's funny the difference because I can't stand it, but I know I say it just to be funny. But like when I said it yesterday, Justice grabbed right onto it. He was all about it.
He's young. Come back here.
So light 'em up, light 'em up, light 'em up, I'm on fire. So light 'em up,
Welcome back in the morning. Boy, that's so appropriate. As we jump into Major League Baseball, there are teams that come out of the first weekend on fire. But there's a player that did not, and they should be heavily concerned. Rafael Devers from Boston. Have you seen this? Historically bad.
Oh, yeah. What? 0 for
I think he's
19
0
with-
for 19 now with 15 strikeouts. 16. And I keep hearing this thing about, and I don't know, but it's the whole, like, there was all the controversy with them bringing Bregman in and all that, and him going to the DH role. Like, it's a mentality change of hitting, just being a DH. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But boy, that is historically bad. You hope he gets it right because he's a good hitter. But oh boy. Boy, I gotta tell you, there's been this torpedo. Let's talk torpedoes because the Yankees unveiled this thing. Former staffer at MIT created this bat. Yada yada yada. Right. They come out of the first weekend, 15 home runs in the first 3 games of their young season. I don't know what to make of it quite yet. I think, like, what I love about it is that someone got an idea, ran with it, and it's working. It's the evolution in the baseball world, which is hard to do these days. There's an evolving piece now. Also, Major League Baseball is on their heels trying to figure this out. Like, oh, now what?
Well, they approved it.
Yeah.
And there was
not thinking that
it was going to be some big revolution to baseball because a couple players used the torpedo bat last year.
Yep.
Now everyone saw what the Yankees did their first week and they said, I need the torpedo.
They're
bat.
just ordering these bats.
And okay, let's be clear. It 100%. I know there's been some arguments here. It falls easily within the MLB rules, baseball rules, as an official illegal bat. No question about it. It's not wider than the 2.79 inch diameter.
Yep.
Perfectly fine there. It's just the barrel where the thickest part of the bat has been moved down slightly, and you're saying we don't need thickness on the end part where you're not going to make good contact anyway.
Leave that alone. That's like a foul tip anyway up there. Like that's a weak ground. That's a rolled over ground ball to short.
Yeah, so let's make that end part skinnier to make sure that the balance of your bat is closer to the hands, which makes it easier to swing, makes it feel a little bit lighter. And let's put the thickest part of the bat where we're actually making contact with the ball. It makes perfect sense, and I think it's just going to be the next thing in baseball. That's where I'm at.
Did you see? They said reports were yesterday that Ellie De La Cruz used him for the first time yesterday.
How'd he do?
4 for 4, 7 RBIs. Sorry, 4 for 5. Scored 4 runs, hit a double, hit 2 home runs, and had 7 RBIs. Wow. Panic meter. Should we be panicking right now? I know I am a little bit with the Braves. I know they come out. They're 0-5 now or something like that. They get beat by the Dodgers last night, 6-1 run differential -10 right now.
Yeah, who's the manager again of the Braves?
Oh, Snick.
And there's rumors floating out there that he might just retire.
Like, I'm out. I've had enough. Now, the one thing I'll say about them, they're still waiting on a couple of dudes that haven't returned. You're still missing Spencer Strider, not back fully yet. Ronald Acuna Jr. Okay. But otherwise, it looks really bad. In a division that's a highly contested division. Mets, Braves, Phillies. I mean, scary. Those are you got one other winless team out there. I believe the Tigers have started 0-3. They were swept by let's be honest. The Tigers went 0-3, and it says they got swept by the Dodgers. Who's not going to this year, by the way, with that team? How about your Rockies? Have they won a game?
They're 1-3.
Let's go.
Another great start from the Rockies. I mentioned it earlier. Their team starting ERA, so among the starting pitchers, is down to a .87. Those guys are dealing. It was Herman Marquez yesterday. Scoreless 6 innings.
Whoa.
The Rockies lose 6-1. Bullpen's terrible. The bats haven't been there. Rockies are going to be lucky to win 50 games this year. So that's where I'm at.
Are they headed towards the worst record in baseball this year?
Yes, absolutely.
You think so? Because historically we talked about this. When the team has the worst record the year before, I think it's on average a 15-game jump.
Yeah.
So you're meaning the White Sox are going to?
I'm pretty confident the Rockies are going to have the worst record in baseball this year. They're not good.
There's a few other teams that are winless out there too, by the way, when you look at them. Maybe, I don't know if there's concern. 0-4 Minnesota. They're 0-4.
How about the Cubs?
Cubs have won one. They had a great moment last night, by the way, in that match. It was the first. Do we call them home games if you're the A's? Are they home games? Their home opener was last night. The Cubs, I'm gonna get the kid's name.
They're 3-4.
Yeah, they got 3 wins.
I like Pete Crow Armstrong.
Carson Kelly last night become the first Cubs player to hit for the cycle since 1993. Mark Grace, by the way, hit for the cycle 30 years.
We also in that Cubs game last night. Was that Cubs? It was not. Never mind. That was the Guardians game.
They had a. It looked like a sellout in Sacramento for their A's to get beat. Their A's. Go take.
Not the Sacramento A's, just the A's.
The A's. 18-3. Going to be a long year for the A's. I'll tell you that. So, all right, man. Fast moving first hour. Be a lot of fun when we come back. We have Brian Munson here in a little bit, and we're going to talk a little football. NFL's making some changes. Get Elijah from his lineman perspective, the tush push. That and a whole lot more when we return.
It's the sweet spot where solo anglers find quiet before the catch, families reel in memories, and first-timers discover what makes fishing so special. From the Panhandle to the Platte, the best fishing happens here, beneath Nebraska skies. Get started at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. In a move that could impact 10,000 people, the Department of Health and Human Services has started terminating employees. ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers.
The layoffs have begun at that department, and that includes the FDA and the CDC. 10,000 employees are expected to be laid off in this round, the employee reduction in forces there. And we're told that some employees have been told that they are now going to be placed on administrative leave as early as today, and actually will lose access to their offices starting today.
Former FDA Commissioner Robert Califf says many of the leaders with institutional knowledge and a deep understanding of product development and safety are no longer employed. He thinks history will view this as a huge mistake. HHS officials, including Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr., maintain that the restructuring will not impact critical services. The latest Trump tariffs are expected to be implemented tomorrow. The market's losing more ground today as consumers worry about what's in store.
Economists warning tariffs are just taxes on imported products paid for by American businesses. Those costs passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. In just days, prices could skyrocket on everything from groceries and clothing to electronics and cars. By one estimate, the cost of a new car could go up by more than $8,000 when tariffs on foreign-made vehicles kick in later this week.
That's ABC's Mary Bruce. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker has been speaking on the Senate floor for 16 hours now in protest of Trump administration policies.
How can the central precept of our country, founded on principles that are reflected in the good book, how could we say that we should cut health care from the sick and the needy to give bigger tax cuts to Elon Musk?
Nearly 24 states are now suing the Trump administration over its decision to rescind billions in health funding. This is ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns? Owe the IRS $10,000 or more? With the IRS ramping up enforcement, taxpayers across the country are turning to tax relief helpers. Call 800-885-0622 now. End IRS stress today. Stop collection efforts, wage garnishments, and sleepless nights. Tax relief helpers can help you or your business settle your tax debt quickly and affordably. Call the Tax Relief Helpers hotline at 800-885-0622. That's 800-885-0622. Start your relief today.
A deadly weekend crash claims the life of a former Husker football player. Good morning, I'm Jeff Modes, 52 degrees at KFOR. A head-on crash Sunday afternoon near Elmwood in central Cass County resulted in the death of 53-year-old David Noonan of La Vista. Noonan's westbound car and his semi-truck were on Highway 34 about a mile east of State Highway 1 when they collided. The driver of the semi was taken to a Lincoln hospital with minor injuries. Noonan was a 1989 Lincoln Northeast High School graduate and played football in Nebraska from 1989 to 1993. Also the younger brother of Husker football great and NFL veteran Danny Noonan. Former Husker defensive coordinator Charlie McBride reflected on David Noonan Monday afternoon on the Average Joe Sports Show here on KFOR.
It's tough when you have a kid, you have, and then you lose them, and instead of being you, it's them, and that's a tough thing.
Services for David Noonan are Thursday morning in Omaha. Thumbs up from the Lincoln City Council Monday evening to amended changes to city code by increasing penalties for dangerous driving. That includes new definitions and prohibitions for reckless driving and racing. Councilmember Benny Shobe.
I believe the Lincoln Police Department will use discretion in a manner that protects our community and respects the rights of everyone who lives here.
A first offense would result in the driver's vehicle being towed and released upon paying a fee. Second offense, the vehicle will be towed and held for 10 days. Starting today, running through the end of April, Lincoln Police will be doing special enforcement for red light and distracted driving. LPD Public Information Manager Erica Thomas says the purpose is to focus on speeding and red light violations, which are the two most common traffic offenses committed by drivers.
In 2024, officers investigated at least 3,900 crashes where at least one driver was reported to be operating a vehicle in an inattentive, careless, negligent, or erratic manner.
Funding for the project has been made possible through a grant from the Nebraska Department of Transportation's Highway Safety Office. Cloudy and breezy today, 30% chance of rain, a wind advisory in effect until 7 this evening, a high of 63. I'm Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
Fly just about anywhere you want to go for free.
Go on a trip, definitely. Palm trees, ocean, definitely.
You can choose your trip with KFOR. A VIP getaway to anywhere in the U.S. The destination is your choice. We've got you covered on airfare, hotel, and VIP experiences.
An adventure-packed vacation.
A VIP trip of your choice can be yours. The winning starts Monday on KFOR.
you decide to buy new flooring, you want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. With our huge in-stock supply of carpet, tile, and vinyl, wood, and laminate flooring. You buy today and we'll install it right away. While other stores don't deliver that kind of service, we do. In fact, if you'd have purchased your flooring last week at O Street, you'd be enjoying it today.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup. Bill Hooks, Elijah Herbal. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Some great comments coming in. Joe P. He said, yes, get your popcorn ready. The talent is there. Looking forward to seeing coaching strategies. And then they followed Happy Victory Tuesday, Shane. Joe P. also asked, which team has the best coaching experience? Boy, that's a tough one. I want to lean towards Calvin Sampson in that world.
Yeah.
That's where
I was going to go. That's
where
my
I'd
first
lean.
thought. Bruce Pearl, though.
Yeah.
He's been around the block.
Close
but
second.
Kelvin Sampson, especially with what Houston's been for the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Been there, done
That'd
that.
be my thought. Just because I've seen what that team has done. I mean, they locked Tennessee down to 50 points. You know, they took on they strategically went around a Gonzaga team.
Well, and how about the out of bounds play for Houston against Purdue?
Oh,
drawn up by Sampson. He was ready. He knew exactly what Purdue was going to be calling from a defensive point of view in that moment. That's what makes me say Kelvin Sampson, is because not only has his team been there over the last 5 years, but over the course of this tournament, he has coached like a veteran coach.
Yes. My kids were like, how can that happen? I said, that's because they knew. They scouted, they noticed, they looked, they knew everything was about to happen. He had that play ready because he'd already seen it somewhere else.
Yep.
And maybe had seen it during the game, the way they defend under the hoop out of bounds.
I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Ant Wright? It's a Twitter account, follows the Big Ten. He did a breakdown of the amount of times that Purdue had called that those defensive responsibilities on a baseline out of bounds play late in games throughout the course of the entire season. A good bit of the time. Hey, if they got the screening action where you had a guy cutting towards the rim, the guy who had the inbounder would flip over, and it was clearly within the scout. Purdue, time and time again, was late getting a defender back over to the inbounder.
I mean, at this point, when you get to the tournament, you are who you are. Right? Now it's all strategy. And I think that's what's going to make this Final Four as unique as anything else is the 4 coaches that are in this. That will make this a fight. I have not heard a status on Broom either. I think he's I don't know. Maybe he is hurt, but there's a little showmanship, I thought, in that game.
He's going to go.
You ain't Willis Reed, brother.
He's going to go. It's the Final Four. I mean,
I
don't doubt the fact that he was hurting.
Oh, I'm sure. But
I'm sure he was hurting.
Isn't everybody throughout the rest of the year right now they've been through it?
Well, it's the old, are you hurt or are you injured?
Yep. I agree.
How many times do you hear that from your football coach?
Oh, my gosh.
Are you hurt or are you injured?
I'm
trying to figure that out, coach.
I don't know. I don't know yet. Leave me alone. Get off the top of me. Let go of my face mask. Ryan 840 says they hate on us because they ain't us. Go Big Red. Haters are my favorite problem. Means you're doing something right. Yeah, I talked about a tweet that went out after Nebraska won yesterday, and I'm not here to call anybody out, but it's like, why? I always ask myself why when certain things come out. When you win a game and then the tweet comes out. When do we play Duke? One more win or 2? You know,
Nebraska don't want that.
We don't want that. No, we don't want that smoke. We don't want that smoke. NFL players, owners meetings happening right now. I want to get your take, Elijah. This is the whole tush push conversation, which I think they've been doing this 3 years?
Yeah,
3 years in the mix. They've been like a 98%, whatever success rate. It's high. Give me thought. You're a lineman. I know they're going towards player safety. I think I had 2 questions. Player safety, yes. Let's talk that if that's the case. Can the defense, I saw this thing on, I was watching Get Up this morning. It was such a great thing. So one, if they're not going to get rid of it, how does a defense figure out how to stop it? Can you think about this? Think about some of the safety side. What if you had, Give me the best defensive lineman up front there. I don't know. Pick one. But you get behind a linebacker gets behind him and just torpedoes him in to try to stop it.
Mhm.
Yeah?
I mean, right now your only hope with the tush push is you see those guys that jump over the line of scrimmage, time it perfectly, and they're able to pull the ball carrier back. Like, that's the only thing that can stop it. The two sides of this that I don't know, I can't quite rectify. I can't bring the two sides together in my own mind. It's on one hand, if you were to take the modern game of football back to its roots, back to the people that were playing in like 1900, the tush push would be the only play they'd understand. Like, yeah, that's football.
It. Yeah, that's what we do. That's like rugby.
Yeah, it's 100%. It's
rugby.
It gets back to the roots of football. That's what football was. That's what football should be. Like, hey, mano-y-mano, man against man. We are going to be bigger, stronger, and tougher than you, and we're going to get the yard that we need. Love that from that perspective. That is football to me. I love the tush push because to me it is like, yeah, the Eagles' offensive line is bigger, stronger, more athletic, and can get more leverage than you.
Yep.
And they have a quarterback that can squat freaking 700 pounds. Sorry, you don't have that. If you don't want to have the tush push, don't let 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 happen.
It reminds me of the late, great Mike Leach would say, why'd you score? They give him a hard time. He scores me a point. Well, my job is the offense score points. Job's of defense stop me from scoring.
100%. The flip side of it, and what gives me pause, is there was the rule in football. It got changed. I think it was like 15 years ago because nobody followed it anyway. It used to be you couldn't directly push or pull a ball carrier. It got changed. Now you can directly push, but you cannot pull a ball carrier. It doesn't get enforced anyway. Like, I've seen so many running backs. I think it was the Quinn Miners for the Broncos last year, picked up his running back and like suplexed him into the end zone.
Yep.
So it doesn't get enforced anyway. And the pushing rule didn't get enforced anyway. But from the rules of football, which was safety, it was you couldn't directly push a ball carrier. You could push a pile. You could push a tackler who was trying to make a play on a ball carrier, but you couldn't directly push a ball carrier. That rule got changed, and it was because, well, they didn't enforce it anyway because the fans liked it. But that was a player safety thing. I can actually get down with what the Packers are saying and be like, you know what? The tush push from the original idea of football, it's unsafe for the ball carrier and it's unsafe for some of the defensive players. That I can agree with. That being said, that's football to me. Football is an unsafe sport.
It is. That you take a calculate a risk by playing any sport, especially football. Now, it is being reported that they have tabled this discussion as they have stuff all over the board. Opposers, supporters. It sounds like through 16 different teams opposed the ban. In the meantime, there's so much going on with here. So,
well, I do disagree with the wording of this rule change, which is that it would prohibit an offensive player from pushing a teammate who is lined up directly behind the center and receives the snap immediately at the snap. Way too specific for me.
Yep.
If you're going to go in and ban this, just ban directly pushing a ball carrier again.
Yeah, just
right.
Carte blanche, do it.
Because that's the safety thing to me. It's not specifically the tush push. It's just generally speaking, the fact that you can have a 320-pound offensive lineman with a head of steam go in and smash his running back or wide receiver in the back and push him forward for an extra yard or two. That's a safety issue for anybody who is making a play, who is stationary, who does not see this 320-pound giant coming. Like, that's where I think that's unsafe. So if you're going to make this rule change, I think you should just ban it altogether. You can't directly push a ball carrier.
Here's some of the comments coming when they say, Coach John Harbaugh, by the way, is with you. He said it's a football play. A lot of teams saying, show me the evidence of the serious injury risk. Show me some data. Some of the ones out of it says just one of the coaches pretty much reports that I just don't like the play. That's classic. So more to come with that. I think more than anything right now, which has been voted on as you're out there, is the slight change to overtime. This will make a lot of people happy. As we know, the way it does now, the stats that show you, and again, we're talking about the Chiefs a lot. When the coin gets flipped, the team that gets it scores a touchdown, they win. Right? Field goal, you get a chance. Now, it'll still be a 10-minute, but each team will get a chance to possess the ball, whether you score a touchdown or not.
Are we ready to say that they should do away with ties in the NFL during the regular season too?
Yes.
I'm surprised that hasn't been put on the table for the rule changes.
Yuck.
The one side of it, I've seen this is why the overtime's only 10 minutes is, I mean, the NFL, it's a toll on your body, and making the guys go and play an extra quarter or multiple quarters if it's still a deadlock.
And especially with the expansion of the games, the number of games we're playing now.
I do get, you know what? You don't want games to go on for forever. But the one thing that I like about football over soccer is it doesn't end in ties. Unless in the regular season you play a full 10 minutes of overtime, and it does, like, get the ties out of here.
So like I did all
there's nothing I hate more than the teams that are playing ball control, and there's a 7-minute opening drive that ends in a field goal. Now here comes the other team down the field. They're going to possess the ball too, and they're going to kick a field goal. Now with 10 seconds left, each team has 3 points in overtime. We're going to end in a tie. I hate that. Get rid of ties in football.
I'm with you. Some other things come out of there. Thursday night flex reportedly approved. Sounds like the league will allow to flex Sunday games to Thursday night with a 3-week notice, weeks 13 through 17. So get some of those. What you're saying is get some of those not so important games in week 13. Get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Go play Amazon. Get them over there. Also, uniform change. So they'll allow teams. Where'd it go? They'll allow teams to wear their alternate or throwback uniforms 4 times across 17 games.
Cool. Good for the Broncos.
Yeah,
Their throwbacks.
Typically, it's only 3. Give them an extra game.
Yeah. Some other rules that we don't know. It seems like maybe this is official now. The Lions' defensive penalty proposal, which I enjoy. It was the proposal to eliminate automatic first downs on defensive holding and illegal contact penalties.
Yes.
Hey, nothing worse than a 3rd and 14, and you get called for holding in the defensive backfield, and boom, it's an automatic first down. I understand why you don't change that rule. It's frustrating as a fan. That being said, I think if you were to change that rule, you would just get teams on 3rd and long grabbing and holding and saying this is better than a pass interference. I got beat here. I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to hold him. It's better than an automatic first down and a pass interference. I think maybe need some more nuance to that rule. But I there's nothing worse than the ticky-tacky holding call on 3rd and long getting called and boom, it's an automatic first down.
And some of them they call are like, you could see it. But I don't know. That's one you're always like, it's not apples to apples type penalty when you look at it. Now, I get that point of like, I'm beat on blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Now it's 3rd and 10.
Yeah. How about, and one thing, how about you make illegal contact and defensive holding? What's offensive holding? 10 yard.
Make it 10.
Make it 10, but not an automatic first down.
Yes.
If it's 3rd and greater than 10, you get called for the holding. Hey, now guess what? It's 3rd and short. You shouldn't have made that call, but it's not an automatic first down. I get down with that. Put me in the rule change committee. Also, one more that it sounds like is going to be approved. It's been approved, but it has not been, I think, officially implemented just yet. No, as of today, this has been approved. Touchbacks will now come out to the 35-yard line instead of the 30-yard line in the NFL next season. In an attempt to discourage teams from kicking the ball through the end zone
just
so much.
Blasting it.
They like that new kickoff. I like that new kickoff.
I do too.
It's exciting. Hey, teams were saying we'd rather have you start at the 30 than risk a potential game-changing play. So it's coming out another 5 yards now to try to encourage more and more teams.
Yeah, I think it'll make the kickers have a little more of an art to get in that little box now.
To chip it up high.
Yeah. Get in that little box. See what happens. See how good you are as a kicker.
That being said, unfortunately, no change to the onside kick rule expected this year. I've been a big proponent for a couple years now. Make it a 4th and 15 from your own 35-yard line.
I'm on board with you with that. That's such a great element of the game.
You got to give teams a chance. I think late in a football game, time's running down, but your offense is playing well.
Got it.
Give them a chance, because the onside kick, as of this point in time, with how the rule changes have, I was going to use a term I don't think I can use. How it's just changed, and player safety is big. I understand that, but it's made onside kicks damn near impossible to recover.
Oh, it's like the whole lineup of it saying, "Hey, I'm going to onside kick," and I got to get. Yeah,
make it a. If you have to announce it, at least give the team that's doing it a chance. 4th and 15 should be very difficult to pick up, but it's possible. At least it's possible. I think the percentages of that will be closer to what NFL fans want in terms of onside kick success.
Totally. So a lot more coming out of the meetings. So much more speculation of Aaron Rod. All that stuff is still out there. So, but let's take a break. Come back. Gonna go down to the Deep South. We're gonna bring our guy from HustlerOnline.com, Brian Munson, coming up.
The other one, which is kind of unimportant, is they are going to expand the use of replay assist to allow the replay assist. So it wouldn't be challengeable, but it would be replay assist to include hits on a defensive player, a defenseless player. So I assume that's like the crackback rule that they've instituted. Grabbing of the face mask, performing a horse collar tackle, tripping, as well as running into or roughing the kicker can all be replay assist reviewed now.
Look, I'm all about the assist because you know why? They're quick, right? They're quick. That's like the ball strike thing, right? It's quick. I know replay is there to get it right, but man, it seems like in baseball more than anything, in basketball, it takes forever.
The one stipulation to this rule is it has to be the replay assist only comes in on if the flag is
the flag. Yes.
So the flag's been thrown. You always get the.
So by the way, all like people got excited about. I knew you were going to. They all excited about the face mask thing, but all the face masks missed last year don't fall under that rule.
Yeah.
So they didn't throw a flag.
This is only the flag is thrown. The refs get together.
So they can pick him up or leave.
They have their little huddle. Replay assist can buzz down during that little huddle and say, "Hey guys,
pick it up.
We just looked at it. It's not a flag. Pick it up."
Yep.
That being said, if there is a face mask that is missed, it's not.
Can they change? I just wonder if it says it in there on the roughing the kicker stuff. Or I wonder if the rule allows them to, if they call it a 15, to change it to a 5.
I bet that's what it is. No inside information. I would bet that's what it is, or more accurately, with what was the college football playoff game, the Notre Dame game this year, where you had the back-to-back running into the kickers, and it really felt like one of them should have been roughing.
Yeah,
that's the point where I go, yeah, let's get replay assist in here, and
that's got to be coming to college, doesn't it? Come on.
I don't know.
Like you think back, all right, in instance of a Nebraska situation, Nebraska again, whatever happened, Nebraska Ohio State game. How good would replay assist have been on that spot where they thought the lineman had them? You know what I'm saying?
I just generally speaking here, I like replay assist. Hey, it's not coaches challenging. It is it's not a ref or a coach questioning a ref throughout the game. It's quiet, it's discreet. The guys upstairs just working as a team buzz down and say, hey, we got another angle on that. We want to get the call right. You didn't make the call right. It's not going to be the public embarrassment of a referee making a call and then everybody is like, I guess, on the field being like, you got that wrong, we're going to review it, and the ref having to eat crow. It's just working as a team. The ref upstairs says, hey, you missed that one. We're going to pick up the flag. I like that. We're going to end the segment here. I'm going to get Brunson on the line. Or Munson.
Welcome back. After Brian Munson coming, man, you have secured that spot in that seat with playing what you're playing. Well done. We're gonna effort Brian Munson here coming up.
Yeah, I heard Justice had a good day of songs.
He did, but here's
I just show
you're holding your own. It's just I love the fact that I have both of you, but and you and I got this thing, and it's a different element of music, though. It's different. Now, I think he played to me yesterday a little bit because the songs he played, like, I don't know, I was singing them. It wasn't new R&B, new rap. It was like back. And I'm like, all right, I get you. But he has a little dance style back there he gets into. So, all right, let's bring in our guy from HustlerOnline.com, Brian Munson. Brian, what's up?
Hey, guys, what's going on?
I have a couple of questions out of the gate. Number one, should we be worried about Robin Washington in Vegas by himself? I know you spent some time with him out and about.
I've spent some time with him out and about in Nashville, and Nashville's kind of like Vegas without slot machines. I'm thinking he's a big enough, grown enough man to where he can kind of go ahead and know better. But no, I tell you what, that was like the one thing I loved so much about following him on Twitter and marking all of his tweets, like to bring them to my attention. Because then I knew, like, I was 5 seconds behind, like, on my cable from the guy that's getting it, in real time, sitting there courtside. So it was fun kind of watching that a little bit, because I gotta admit, I'm going to take partial credit for the victory last night. I figured out that if I had my glasses off, playing with my phone, listening to the guys play ball, they actually did well. And the minute I put my glasses on, they did something wrong. So I just kept my glasses off and my face down in my phone, and I secured the victory last night. So y'all can thank me about that later. I'll give you guys my Venmo maybe or something.
You and I are on the same page. I promise. This is every time I will watch if it's especially on the road, right? Because I'm usually there for home Husker basketball games. Yep. I will turn a Husker basketball game on at home on the road, and I'm like, damn it, they're playing bad. And I cut it off.
Yeah.
And then I look at my phone and they're up 8. I turn it back and they're up 4. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. Like, I'm the problem.
That means you stay away. That means I know how to pay attention to the universe. I can feel the pushes that I'm getting, just gently nudged. Don't put your glasses back on. Keep your face in the phone. Listen away. Like, that is enough that you need to kind of just know, like, hey, when Ball and others are counting down the time on the thing saying that Huskers have got this one in hand, then the glasses go back on and go, hey, 8 seconds left. We're up by 6. Good job, guys, or whatever. One of those deals.
Well, and secondly, that means you and I can actually see the TV again, too, by the way.
I have an 83-inch television set that sits 15 feet away from the other end of my thing. And it wouldn't matter if that thing was 183 inches. I am blind. So same. Yeah, that's. I mean, I got the big alarm clock that sits at the thing on my end table, or my little thing in my room. Still can't see it. So forget about it.
That's so great.
At times this season, it's better to be blind watching Husker basketball, right?
Oh wow, Brian. I also got to ask you this, because I know you're a football guy, and this is a football play that's being discussed at the meetings. It's been tabled for now. Tush push or no tush push?
Well, there's only one team that can execute that to perfection. Buffalo tried to against the Chiefs. It seemed almost exclusively in the second half, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little predictable, went same way, and didn't change personnel out or nothing. So I'm still gonna say, like, it's not an illegal play. And in fact, I would look at it very much the opposite and say, I watched, the Chiefs line up offsides against Philadelphia, in the Super Bowl. I watched the Chiefs line up offsides against Buffalo, trying to stop that thing. And I think things get very, very, very sloppy when it comes to that play, and it comes to penalties that kind of come along with it, as well as like the guys jumping off sides on defense, etc. So I don't see the reason, though, however, to kind of remove it from the playbook entirely just because one team can successfully run it. That's like if the only team that could ever successfully complete a Hail Mary, got it thrown out of the playbook, that would seem, a little bizarre to me. So I think it has to stay in, and I think teams have to make some adjustments to it. And if it's literally like, hey, pick it up, it's a gimme, then so be it. I mean, teams know that they can go back to get it to yard, but I've seen it both ways. I've seen Buffalo fumble at the one and lose to the Jets, or to the Vikings, excuse me. And I've seen all that stuff happen the other way. So it doesn't come without risk, is what I'm trying to say. But teams that go out there and practice that, and they set it up as like one of the things that they will go to, 4, 5, 6 times or more a game, they will go out there and be successful, because they don't have to just say, hey, randomly, let's call a timeout and let's see what you think about doing the tush push. Like, that doesn't happen with the Eagles. They just know what they're going to do.
I'm with you on this one. If you're going to ban it, I don't think you can ban just the tush push. I said this last segment. I think you have to ban directly pushing a ball carrier altogether.
I agree. That's essentially what this gets to, right? The essence of it is you are enabling or helping enable a ball carrier by somebody without the ball pushing them, in order to gain yardage. Then you have to make that a penalty, or you have to at least call it a dead ball, like as soon as that starts to happen. So call it whatever you want to call it, but the play can't come out. I mean, that just seems like nonsense to me. It seems like 31 teams are crying about it, and probably 30 and Buffalo's over there confused, putting little pigtails in their hair, trying to figure out how they could run it better last year. So to me, it doesn't make any sense to make the play illegal.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Monson, HuskerOnline.com. Brian, a little recruiting action to talk about. I want to ask a big picture one, and I think it's interesting. For me, it is, because I think it's gone away a lot, but you're up and being right there, because we all know that right now it's NIL and a lot of talk about this and that and maybe facilities. How important is it still for a recruiter, a head coach? And I'm going somewhere with this because we have a coach now that hates TikTok, but now he's in one. How much more now is it that the fact that is it important that these coaches are relatable, as in that sense? Because I think there's a lot of that kids are selling themselves, and nice, you know what I mean? But like they're getting impressions and they're on these streams. Now it's like, wait a minute, that coach said he doesn't like it. He doesn't know anything about it or how we relate. But now you got one that just jumped into the world with maybe the biggest TikTok person at Nebraska with Harper Murray.
Yeah, no, did you see who immediately followed that up with? That's Matt Rule. Mm-hmm. That was Trey Taylor. Trey Taylor, the 2027 quarterback, probably the number one quarterback, not only on Nebraska's board, but Georgia's and Michigan's and A&M's and Auburn's, etc. He followed up Harper Murray's tweet with Matt Rule dancing in the background on a TikTok with, if you don't know Matt Rule, that's Matt Rule. That's his personality. That's who he is. And I'll go one step further, man. My son was at Pro Day last week for UNK as a coach for UNK. And he got a great chance to meet with Matt Rule. Matt Rule, I'm telling you what a great dude. And he took the time to talk to my son about, being a young coach, being impressionable, like being energetic, that guy to me, it's almost unlike any other head coach I think I've ever covered before. And that's how big of an impression he left on my son and his family. So I think to me, you've got to be that guy. You got to be the one that's very approachable, that has these incredible life stories to kind of like he was telling Cameron Hamill, who was walking around with a notebook, how important notes were and how he references notes that he took years and years ago. Like those kinds of stories to kind of create this context of a back and forth, or what the coaching staff in Nebraska is all about. It's huge. It is absolutely huge. And that's something that Trey Taylor has talked about from the beginning of narrowing his list and the setting of his springtime visits. He connects well with every one of the staff members at Nebraska. It's not just Matt Rule either. It's that entire staff. They are an entirely relatable group.
Well, tell us a little bit about Trey Taylor, the player. I know he's been on Nebraska's radar for a long time now. It's a big recruiting weekend. We'll get into some other names here in just a second, but start off with Trey Taylor. What does he bring, and what were the impressions from this past weekend?
Yeah, Trey's going about doing things the right way. He's set a list of the schools that have interested him, and it's not been NIL driven. It's always been based on the merit of how he sees the values of a staff, how he sees the values of a school, of a program. And he's put all those things kind of together. Right. Yep. So there's absolutely been this list that he's kind of stuck to, and he's not really strayed from that list at all. He's still set for a June 6th commitment date. And even though, staffs at Wisconsin are pushing for him to kind of, crack open the door a little bit, he's standing next to his words that this is it. He's told the schools during this period of visits here, this is the last time I will be here before I announce my commitment in June. I mean, he's really a tremendously mature individual who's got the bloodlines of a quarterback. His dad played quarterback, and I can absolutely understand, from talking to him, just not even like looking at the film, why Nebraska is so intrigued with him. He's an incredibly mature individual. But, as we're probably going to get onto, it wasn't enough to keep the Huskers from offering another 2027 quarterback last week. So I think that now that, you're entering into this last couple weeks of the sweepstakes for Trey Taylor, you've got to have a backup plan. And it seems like Nebraska finally secured one.
Talk about that backup plan since you're going there, Keegan Croucher. And I love the fact that you're getting some of this different conversation, obviously NIL, but you're hearing stuff about, facilities. And now you're also entering the conversation with, I have high praise for your current quarterback. That is, I'm sure, heavily involved in this process as well.
Totally. And Keegan Croucher, which was, an interesting guy because he showed up to Nebraska without an offer. He showed up, having probably been a pretty highly trending guy to Michigan. He's got some really outstanding offers he didn't have to take this visit. He didn't have to do it. And he showed up, he wanted to see what it was all about. He did see how great of a quarterback that Dylan Raiola is. And he announced it. He basically said, like, that's the man. He's the guy. Like that is understandable why he is out there. And then Croucher, has done enough on film, plays at an incredible football academy up there in Connecticut, and showed up, passed the eyeball test. He's a 6'3" kid, and legitimately, has all the other things to kind of go along with the film, and has the personality and the right profile that what they're kind of looking for. And they offered him later on in the day. So I thought that was not as necessarily telling about where Nebraska feels like they are at with Trey Taylor. The timelines are completely and totally different, right? Like Nebraska, if they got Taylor, they can just as easily walk away from Croucher there and say, hey, we may connect somewhere else down the line in case something else happens with Taylor here. But we got our guy, and was, we really would have taken you two, had it all gone down differently. You could phrase that a million different ways and make him feel just as good about it. But Croucher's, not feeling the same pressure or hasn't put like a timeline on himself like what Taylor has. Taylor is a June 6th guy. Croucher's like when I'm ready guy, and that could be this summer, that could be this fall, that could be next spring. He didn't really want to limit himself, to a window. And he's a guy that's going to be incredibly popular. If when Trey Taylor commits, it'll be very interesting to watch, Keegan Croucher and other quarterbacks kind of in that same position, like teams keeping him warm. What kind of happens like to their popularity? Because it's going to skyrocket. It'll absolutely skyrocket.
It's Brian Munson with us here talking some recruiting on the morning hookup. And Brian, I know the quarterbacks are the sexy ones. They're the ones that everyone wants to talk about, but it was a big weekend for the big uglies as well. Some defensive linemen, some offensive linemen, Nebraska making some offers. What can you tell us about the lines of scrimmage and what Nebraska got accomplished there in the recruiting weekend?
There were some big uglies there in town this weekend. One at least that I had kind of able to reconnect with Peyton Miller, who's from Anna, Texas, which is just kind of up the road from me, kind of heading up to Oklahoma, about 35 or 40 miles up the road. So he was back in town after visiting one time for a game before. And then Nebraska, like you had mentioned, they made 3 offers. And I'm going to mention this in 3 and Out tomorrow because I think there's something else brewing, and I think people don't necessarily maybe have their eye on the ball. But we'll get to that tomorrow in 3 and Out. Let me tease you with that. But Will Slagle, a 2027 interior offensive lineman who essentially had really not had a whole lot of contact to Nebraska before taking the visit, picked up an offer this weekend. Then you also had Carter Barrett, who's a pretty big-time offensive tackle from Dowling Catholic in West Des Moines. and Hayden Shannon from Monroe, Iowa, were also in town. They also picked up offers. These are some big dudes. My son is a freshman, a 2028 guy. He's a 6'2.5", 205 guy. These guys are 6'5", 270 and 6'4", 275, and they're 14 years old. I'm absolutely astonished when I talking to them on the phone, not for being 14 and then having that kind of size, to kind of go along with it. So I think it says a lot that Nebraska feels confident to reach into Iowa and make some offers like this.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Munson, HuskerLane.com. Brian, there was another interesting character on and I love this, and I think it's unique. And this is one of those, and I'm not giving your way, but that you hear, I got to Nebraska, it wasn't what I thought, it was better. It was like a place I like to be. Ahmad Hudson not only loves the game of football, but he's a pretty powerful forward as well.
Yeah. No, he's legacy LSU guy. So I think people need to kind of understand that about him. But I mean, this is an interesting dude, like you're talking about. I mean, Nebraska, if there's one thing that needs to be said about the 2027 so far, they have done a great job, in 2026 too. Like they've gone out and grabbed like dual sport athletes. Like they are going after guys like Ryan Moret last week, state champion heavyweight wrestler in Florida. You got to mention him, but Ahmad Hudson may be the best dual sport athlete in the country. I mean, we're talking about the number one tight end in the country, the number two player in the state of Louisiana for 2027. But like you had mentioned, he's also rated as a power forward. He's a 6'6", 230-pound guy. He's the number 19 power forward. He's almost a top 100 player in the nation on the hard court. So he has got some real athletic ability there. In Ruston, Louisiana, I love Ruston, home of Louisiana Tech. That's a beautiful part of the world. So yeah, he had a lot to say about, splitting his time in Nebraska between the basketball facilities and the football facilities, like what he missed, but what he was picking up there from the basketball side. Doesn't have a basketball offer. But I think one of those will follow up very, very quickly now that you see that he's a top target for Nebraska's football team. Not necessarily the kind of offense that he runs in high school. The tight ends are asked to do a couple different things than what he's, been asked to do before, but he's going to grow. And if you're going to play tight end in the league, unless you're one of those really elite kind of slot guys, you're going to have to put your hand in the dirt, and you're going to have to go ahead and get a little physical, block some guys. And that's the part that Nebraska basically helped Hudson out with the most. They helped him out with some technique, and hey, when you got to go block, try this, do this, shift this, make this work. So I was really taken aback because of all the schools that he has yet to go to. Yet the shining kind of report that he had about Nebraska and what he saw, and his eagerness to get back again in the fall.
I know you can sell a lot in recruiting. Do you think Matt Rule and Hoiberg would be serious about letting him be a two-sport guy at Nebraska? That's a tough one to pull off because there's so much overlap between the football season, the basketball season, not to mention the overlap in spring. If you get to postseason play, spring practice overlaps with postseason tournaments. Like, how difficult is that to pull off, and how real do you think a multi-sport offer would be in this case?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. You've had a couple guys like dabble in it, like Matt Davison and Wilson Thomas, like back in the 90s and the 2000s. It's not a great calendar to kind of like overlay with one another to look at your availability and not have to kind of like steal. I'm gonna rob from Peter to pay Paul. That's essentially what those two sports kind of do throughout the calendar year. So I don't know necessarily about what that conversation is going to be like. I know that Nebraska has had things before with football guys and baseball guys, and obviously they're doing more with football and wrestling with Manning and Rule, and that came up with Myra like last week. Basketball, that's a toughie, and I think it's one of those things where you're going to be really, really good at one and probably be a contributor at the other. So you might as well go ahead and just isolate yourself and focus on one. I think that's, I've always heard that from college football coaches too. The guys that come there dual sport, even with baseball, they'll never reach their potential in either if they really focus on playing both. So it's a really different world from high school to college, and I think it really takes a superior athlete to kind of pull it off to become really disruptively good in both sports.
Well, Brian, before I get you out of here, I know everybody's bracket's busted, but as predicted, all the 4-1 seeds, right? Perfect. That's what happens every single year. I heard somebody say the other day, shout out to all the people out there that just run the chalk all the way through the tournament. You won this year.
Run chalk.
Yeah,
run chalk.
You won this year.
Well, I tell you what, if there's not testimony to the importance of the portal and NIL after seeing what happened so far this tournament, then you just need to go back and look at some of your busted brackets where you did anything other than chalk. I mean, that says a lot to me about the changes and how it's caught up with the basketball world. It's there. You know, maybe U of H is maybe that kind of outlier to that, but the other three are neck deep in it, right? So, yeah, definitely a heavy portal NIL kind of significance to this year's bracket in March Madness.
Well, Brian, a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for taking the time with us. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All right. Be good, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Muntz on HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him. Let's take another break, and we'll come back and do stories that we missed. Yeah. Great point. Great question on the dual sport. I mean, I didn't want to joke and say Brent Banks, but
there was one guy that did it from South Carolina a couple of years ago, and the problem was like with like bowl game prep and whatnot, he missed bowl game prep because he's playing basketball, and he comes back and tries to play in the bowl game, and then goes back and tries to play back. It just doesn't. That's a tough one to pull
doesn't
off.
work. And then, I mean, honestly, from that perspective, like you don't reach your full potential in either one of them, but also you have to worry about injury. Because maybe not doing what you should be doing for one of them versus the, I don't know. Well, go get him for basketball. 19th rate power forward. Let's go. I mean,
well, not to mention usually the type of what's the word here? Off-season conditioning that you're going to be doing for each sport differs wildly.
They're different. Yes.
Wildly. I've always heard. I had a friend who.
Well, you watched Ty Robinson.
Well, I have a friend who did some work with strength and conditioning for the basketball team back when he was in college. And he said like the agreement was that Ivan Ouedraogo, remember him? 6'8", just thick.
Who, by the way, turned into like a beast.
Well, they always thought that like, man, that guy should be a defensive end. They're like, it'd be much easier to turn that guy's body into a defensive end than try to turn it into a basketball player that gets up and down the floor.
That had to be a basketball going, don't touch him.
Yeah, you better not.
Sign off right here. Don't touch.
What song am I gonna play here?
See some lightning up at the sky out there.
Already?
Out there, I don't know. I'm thinking about. I'm trying to will this in my brain. Weather, get out of the way. Moo.
Let's see if I can quickly pull this song here. Is it clean? Let's check this.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're good. I hope. See if I have time.
Welcome back in the morning.
Sorry, I had your mic on. Sorry.
Yeah, I love it. Special thanks here to Brian Muntz on HuskerOnline.com. like to sing a little bit on the radio. At least you allow it. Will told me I was not good. I know I'm not good, but I enjoy doing it.
He doesn't like letting me sing either.
Why?
I was the president of my choir back
I
in the
mean,
day.
brings
Thank you very
joy.
much.
I was never a president of anything singing or instrumental.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can't sing.
not at all. What's up, Sarah? Sarah says Coach Rule is the best. Ran forward, going back to the Tush, but the Chiefs quit running quarterback sneak out to Mahomie. Got hurt against the Broncos. Randy Forrest says, yeah, I know, Hooksy, this weather needs to stay clear. The Lincoln Broncos come off a big W. Got a game tonight. Let's go.
Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Broncos country.
We've turned quickly into that. That's right. I have a feeling that's not going to get old come football season. That's right.
All right, Bo Nix is whatever. If Bo Nix wants to bring that back,
doesn't he have to say something? Doesn't Bo Nix have to change that narrative somehow?
He already led the Broncos
I know,
to the postseason.
but I'm saying like
if he wants to bring Let's Ride back, I am all for it.
He needs something.
Bo, I'm a Bo Lever.
Oh, Bo Lever. Here we go. All right, you ready to rock some stories that we missed?
The stories we missed. The morning hookup.
Boy, did you see Coastal Carolina, what they're going to do for their 2025 home games with the purchase of any ticket?
Free concessions.
My God, they're going to offer free concessions to fans during the 25 season. Again, this is the first ever to do it. The offer will provide ticket purchasing patron hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, and fountain drinks at no extra cost. You can get, by the way, this is the caveat. You can get 4 items per trip, but guess what? There is no limit on your trips. You can go back and get 4 items every time. Hot dog, nacho, popcorn, and fountain drinks.
Sign me up. This will never happen at Nebraska.
No.
This will never. I know people out there will be like, why doesn't my school do this? Well, because your school sells out the stadium and they don't need extra reason to get people in seats. Give me to a Coastal game this year, though.
Hell yeah, I'm in. They're thanking the fans. No, you're not. You're trying to get them in the stadium.
Yeah. You're trying to up those ticket sales.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. I love that, though. I love that.
For you fans that think it's only those items, by the way, for out there, you can't get booze, okay? I know what you're thinking.
Hooksy, my first story that we missed is, generally speaking here, we talked about this a little off air, no one knows what a balk is in baseball. The Padres yesterday, they're playing the Guardians. This is the top half of the 5th inning, and you had a double steal situation. The pitcher doesn't step off, and he throws to the unoccupied bag, where the Padres end up getting a double play due to interference. Everyone's saying, that's a balk. It says in the rule book, you cannot throw to an unoccupied base.
And I told you, asked me about it, and being a pitcher, I told you exactly what I think the novice person's going to tell you. I didn't see a disengagement, and I know for a fact you cannot throw to an unoccupied base. I would have been out of the dugout expressing my concern with my, probably my hands would not be behind my back in that manner. It'd be like this at the umpire.
Well, let's dive into the baseball rule book here. The official baseball rule, 6.02, subset A, subset 4.
Subset 8, subset 4.
A pitcher will be charged with a balk if, while in contact with the pitcher's plate, he throws to an unoccupied base, except for the purpose of making a play.
Okay. So
that's the official baseball rule.
So the umpire has discretion
to determine if it was for the purpose of making a play on a base runner, which is just,
I mean, I guess it makes sense.
It's discretionary.
If he's in, if that runner is in a dead sprint, you as an umpire going, yeah, he's trying to get the third.
Yeah.
Now, if he's nonchalantly over halfway but stops,
trying to draw a balk,
what happens? There's a discretion.
It's a balk, but there is a full discretion where, hey, you picked up on the other team's steals. You know a steal's coming. That runner's going on first movement, and your first movement is to go to third. 10 times out of 10 as an umpire, I'm calling that as a balk.
Well, and by the way, the runners have an advantage in today's world with that pitch clock.
Mm-hmm. They can time it up. Yeah.
3, 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So if your first movement is going to be to third, and like you and the umpire or you and the base runner are going simultaneously, 10 times out of 10, that's a balk. It comes into question whenever that base runner goes early, which is usually done, as you would know, Hooksy, for the purpose of trying to draw a balk. You're trying to get that pitcher's head moving too quick, and he's not going to step off, and you're going to have issues.
Tweak.
If the pitcher waits long enough, and that base runner is fully committed to, say, in this case, going to third base, you toss it over there, make the play. The baseball rulebook says if you're making a play over there on third, you don't have to disengage the rubber first.
Hey, what happens in this situation? I feel like there's a segment brewing from an umpire's perspective with you, by the way. What happens in that situation? I don't know. If that, let's say it's a 1-1 count and the pitch clock runs out as it's happening before it happens. Is it dead and it's a ball? Do they have to go back?
I don't know.
There's homework for you. I don't know.
That one. We don't have an official pitch clock in high school.
I don't know.
So.
So, all right, you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, hey, live from Vegas, Henry T. Buchanan. Don't want to miss that. And he'll preview that game as well. You guys have a great Tuesday. Elijah and I'll catch you on a hump day.